Whenever Indian netizens are ridiculed by people from other countries, they will fight back. We are a superpower. We have nuclear weapons. Do you have them? Yes, it's the weekend again, and this channel will talk about India as usual, a country that makes my viewers happy. The topic of this video is India a nuclear power? India conducted a nuclear test in 1974, but the outside world generally believed that the equivalent was insufficient and not successful. In 1998, India conducted another nuclear test and announced that it had mastered the atomic bomb technology. Pakistan subsequently announced that it had achieved its goal. However, India's nuclear explosion equivalent is very small, basically belonging to the early atomic bomb model. India claims that it is 12,000 tons of TNT explosion, but the United States estimates that it is 6,000 to 8,000 tons of equivalent, which is far lower than the atomic bombs dropped by the United States during World War II. India advocates that the hydrogen bomb it has mastered has an explosion equivalent of only about 25,000 tons, which is equivalent to the atomic bombs dropped by the United States during World War II. Hydrogen bombs are one of the top secrets of nuclear powers. Its technology is not public, and each country has obtained it through its own independent research and development. Whether other countries have mastered hydrogen bomb technology can be seen clearly by a nuclear explosion. It is impossible to master it by bragging. Therefore, India is not a real nuclear power, and its nuclear weapons level is not as good as North Korea. The reason why the 5 permanent members of the United Nations are called nuclear powers is that they have mastered thermonuclear weapons. That is, hydrogen bombs. The explosion of the 5 permanent members' hydrogen bombs is in the millions or even tens of millions of tons, which is far beyond the reach of India's nuclear weapons. What we usually say is the balance of terror between nuclear powers, ensuring mutual destruction, referring to thermonuclear weapons, not entry-level nuclear weapons such as atomic bombs. Therefore, Indians often brag about their nuclear deterrence against China, which is completely caused by a lack of common sense. The successful explosion of nuclear weapons is only the most basic requirement. The more important thing is miniaturization and weaponization. After all, when fighting, you can't assemble an atomic bomb near the enemy's target and then detonate it. Therefore, the reliability of nuclear weapons is extremely important. And the reliability of Indian technology, they are lucky if they don't explode themselves. In order for nuclear powers to deter each other, in addition to nuclear warheads, they must also have reliable means of projection. The United States, China, Russia, Britain, and France all have a trinity of nuclear strike forces. That is, there must be reliable means of projection on land, in the air, and underwater. In the air, bombers with assault capabilities are generally required to break into enemy territory and drop nuclear weapons under the cover of air superiority fighters. The strongest in this field is naturally the United States, followed by Russia, and then China, Britain, and France. India does not have reliable bombers at all, and its air delivery capability is zero. Underwater, India built the Arihant-class nuclear submarine under the guidance of Russia. However, the submarine can only be equipped with 4 ballistic missiles, and India's submarine-launched missiles have not been miniaturized and weaponized. India once staged an embarrassing record of the missile disappearing after launching a submarine-launched missile. The Arihant-class nuclear submarine uses nuclear reactor technology that was eliminated in the Soviet era, which is extremely noisy and has low reliability. It has no battlefield survivability at all. Coupled with India's poor shipbuilding technology and poor professional ability of sailors, the submarine was flooded with seawater and became a global laughingstock. Now it is rare to see Indian media showing off their nuclear submarines, because there are too many faults. If they are forced into combat training, they may never come up again. After all, India is the only country in the world whose submarine sank its companion. As for the most reliable means of attack for nuclear powers, ballistic missiles. The 5 permanent members of the United Nations all have intercontinental missiles with a range of more than 10,000 kilometers. The United States, Russia, and China can all achieve global strikes. India's ballistic missiles have a very short range and can only reach medium range at most. India's missiles have deviated from the target after launch more than once, and even have embarrassing accidents that cannot be found. It can be said that the country's military industry is a complete joke. If India's missiles are equipped with nuclear warheads, and there is an error in a certain link, it may not bomb the enemy country, but bomb its own country. A few days ago, India demonstrated the launch of a hypersonic ballistic missile. As a result, the launch cover of the missile was always buckled on the warhead and did not fall off. It was broadcast around the world and was ridiculed. Under such circumstances, the Indian media still announced that India has mastered the technology of hypersonic missiles. Finally, to sum up, India has not mastered any nuclear strike means that can effectively deter major powers. It dares not use nuclear weapons against small countries, otherwise the nuclear powers will wipe it off the earth. Whenever I think of India's military industry, I really can't stop laughing. I remember some netizens' advice to Indians. Can you build the toilet first and then make weapons? A country that can't even make a rifle is thinking about aircraft carriers and nuclear weapons every day. Do you think you have made too few jokes? Don't you feel ashamed to be laughed at by netizens all over the world all day? Are you really living in your own soap bubble?